Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan, and we are back, and it feels weirdo, right? It's weird. Like my ears feel like I got like fresh ears. Am I screaming? I feel like I'm screaming.
Yeah. We're definitely like the volume of when we do the show is way different.
We're off
than,
our game.
It's
gonna take us a solid 3 hours to get. We don't. The show isn't even 3 hours long. It's gonna take us a solid 3 to work out the cobwebs. Speaking of which, there was a cobweb on my light this morning.
No, really?
Yeah.
We were gone long enough.
We were gone long enough to make a cobweb.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm glad we don't have the fish tank anymore.
Oh God, I think about that all the time.
Or any pets that were, that we have to get someone to come here.
Luca the lizard, all that stupid stuff we did during COVID.
Go feed our tarantula.
Drop by and throw a chicken in for our gators.
Because remember when the fish tank went bye-bye?
It cracked and it leaked in one night, like Santa Claus.
What other animal could we get? I was thinking about an oxalata.
An oxalata. We had a gentleman reach out. Don't those give you
chinchilla?
I thought oxalatas gave you salmonella a lot. Or leprosy?
No.
I think so. Those are those. Or is that a pangolin? What's a pangolin?
They all carry some sort of diseases, but I think it's rare.
But they're the pets you don't do anything with, right? You're just like, look at that, I got an oxalato. And then people are like, ooh.
Well, you know what you do have to do is
an oxalato is that little thing you draw, like he puts its face up against the fish tank, and then you draw glasses on it, right? Isn't that what that thing is?
It's some sort of lizard that lives in the water. That's like it's like a frog lizard. I don't know.
I caught a Georgia mudfish. Well, I did. My daughter caught a Georgia mudfish.
Okay. What is that?
I don't
like
really.
A catfish?
Yeah. No, it is not a catfish. It looked like a piece of mud that's a fish.
Oh,
it's horrible looking. It looked like half fish, half poo-poo, half mud. And then mad, mean face, big eyeballs, gross looking. She's holding it. I'm just like, you want to hold it? I'm like, I don't want to hold that.
So
it's disgusting.
Let's talk about it. So you went to the river. What's the name of the river?
The river, and I've fallen in love with it, man. I love this place. I am offering this place up to people if they want to go. I'm not one of those people where I'll send you the link. If you want to rent it, rent it.
Yeah.
Jim Phillips reached out to me and said, like, hey, where are you at? That looks awesome. I want to rent that. I sent it to Jim Phillips.
There's probably a ton of cabins on the river, right? I mean, Airbnb is, probably hundreds of them.
I actually thought of you for the camping trip because the road we're on, there's this little road. And, like, if you want it, dan@tomandan.com. I'll email you. I'm not going to talk about it. But all the cabins down there are basically sort of the same. Very nice, like right on the river, not beside the river, on the river. Every single one of them, we were the only one occupied. We could have rented every cabin and had a camping trip for your birthday. Like, it would have been amazing because you'd have, like, a community.
Yeah, because you rent a group of them. Yeah,
you get them all. Like, there were, like, 6 down there, and I was sure like, this is perfect.
From what I know, my buddy Alex actually has
he has one, right?
a small little cabin in the mountains somewhere. Like, his in North Carolina, I believe. But, like, apparently there's a ton of Airbnb business all the way up, like, all in the Blue Ridge Mountains and stuff, and from Georgia to North Carolina. Like, there is just tons of Airbnbs, and they all have, like, hot tubs on the back and then next to the river,
It's all you need. Yeah, we had the hot tub, and we're right on the river, but it's on the Cartacay. It's right outside of a little town called Ellijay, Georgia. I've been there before, and we did it in the basically when it was super cold winter, and now we wanted to see, like, in the summertime what it was like, and way better in the summer because you can tube until your legs cannot tube any longer.
Do you do what everybody does on vacation where you sit back and you're like, we should live here?
Yeah.
Like, if I lived here, my life would be better.
Yeah, I start planning my new life in the mountains. I'm like trying to convince Andrea, we can do the show remote. We've got internet out here. It'll be fine.
The problem with life is that you fantasize about that, but then if you actually live there, you'd be tired of it. You'd be sitting there like, not as good as it was on vacation. And I think that's the curse, is that's you truly appreciate the vacation.
Yes.
And if you live there, then it just becomes your mundane everyday life.
But I will say,
and then you go down, you go back to the beach. You're like, we should live here. You know,
I haven't been at the river long enough to burn it out yet.
Yeah.
I haven't felt it. The beach, I will agree, I've burned out the beach.
Yeah. Well,
I've burned out other places, you know, but like for whatever reason, this one's, I think that's why it's my favorite, because the river has been holding my attention longer than any other like outdoor destination I've ever been to. There's something about that. Maybe it's just my high anxiety plus river equals final like peace or something, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And then we made record-breaking time. It only takes about 7 hours to get up there, 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, it's not bad.
It's just I've thought about that too, because every time I go to Colorado, I'm like, man, I would love to live here. But then I remind myself, like, if I lived here, it would just become my day-to-day life and not be special anymore. And then I would say the same thing about some other place I went to. And I think that's what happens.
Okay, let's investigate something that you've mentioned your wife has that I think I have as well, and why it bothers us, okay? I love this place so much that I've told Andrea multiple times, I'm like, ask that lady if she wants to sell this place.
Yeah.
And let's just see what we can do. I mean, even if Tom and I pooled our resources and made it a Tom and Dan adventure Airbnb, I was like, this place rules. Let's see what we can do. But Andrea's like, it wouldn't be special then, because you'd have it. It'd be yours. Well, and I know your wife has mentioned this before, but like, I don't, there's something.
Well, then it's just an investment to make money.
Yeah, but if I'm not connected to it somehow, like if it's not mine, it feels less. I don't know what that is. That's an emotional person thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's emotional, yeah.
And because like there is a part of me that says I don't want other people renting this, because I don't want other people like staking up the spot and ruining it.
Yeah. You're not the person for an investment property, because people would be in there and be messing it up, because that's what they do. They'd be partying, or they'd be screwing up some plumbing party, and you'd be mad the whole time that someone is in there screwing your stuff up.
I'll be watching the cameras all the time. Always watching the cameras.
Yeah. You're too emotional to
I mean, watch it, and then if the camera had speaker,
you'd be like, get the hell out of here.
Clean those cans up. This isn't a frat house.
Yeah.
Mother efforts.
So
let me tell you about. Well, you mentioned plumbing problems. I mean, now would be probably, unless you had somewhere you wanted to drive.
I was going to ask you, did you catch any fish besides the mudfish?
I did not. We caught some minnows. You know, we caught the mudfish. Trout fishing,
dude, it's next to impossible.
It's hard, and especially when I didn't even have a lake. I had a rushing water river. And from what I was told, and I was reading everything about trout fishing, I was reading about how to set up your trout magnet, how to set up your, what do you want to use? You're going to use a spinner bait, you're going to do a trout magnet with a bobber on it, you got to put a split washer or a split weight on it to keep your bait. I was like doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And caught nothing. And then I found this little old man walked up on me while I was fishing one day. And he's like, he'd been fishing. Like I saw him down the road fishing, like down the river. You could see him on the bank. And he walked down to me and he's like, are there any goddamn fish in this river? And I was like, I think there are. I've seen them. I say, I just think we're really bad at fishing. And he's like, okay. And like he went back to his spot.
Well,
nothing. Got nothing. Got a couple bites, though. Did get a bite.
Yeah.
Lost a couple lures because I don't know how to tie lures on correctly. I'm pretty bad at it.
Yeah. Well, first,
I'm realistic.
It
about
helps
my
if you
fishing
know. Yeah. If it's like you don't fish all the time, like most like. But
now I like fishing. I'll tell you that. I spooled the reel multiple times because I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But I very much enjoyed it.
So I've never been too much into fishing enough to like be into it as much as my buddy Andres is.
It's hard.
But that is like because my buddy Andres did come with me on this trip with him and his family, and he brought his fishing pole, and we did do a lot of fishing. He
set me up good. He gave me some good advice, got me a good rig, got me a good pole.
I appreciate how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you a story. He did catch a trout, and then my son Max caught a trout.
Awesome.
Which I appreciated so much that he helped.
Jealous.
Now, they caught it in a pond up at the top of Sunlight Mountain in a resort that they stocked full of fish for rich white kids to fish.
They do move fish around. Like, they stock, apparently where I was at, above, I think it was like Interstate 57, they stock. Yeah. And I'm way lower than 57. So the likelihood of those fish making it to me, I'd have to go above it.
Yeah.
I was learning all the lingo. People were telling me at breakfast, they're like, you got to go above 57.
But the rest of the time where he was fishing in a non-stocked, like he was trying to fish in rivers and other lakes,
Natural
and
fishing.
nothing. Not a couple bites, not even close.
You got to throw the pigeon in front of my gun.
By the way, I didn't see anybody, and even in that lake up at Sunlight Mountain, that it was stocked, and then there was tons of rich kids fishing around. No one caught nothing. Andres ended up catching a trout with bread. With bread on the
bread.
Yeah, like,
I was using everything.
Yeah, he caught bread.
Oh
he used
God.
bread.
I was using rooster tails. I was using a trout magnet. Then we were using big red worms. Then I was using trout balls.
And but it's insanely. And then I started appreciating fishing.
I see why people get into it.
It's hard as hell.
You know what I really got into kind of on this trip? And I wasn't planning on talking about it, but let's talk about it. I kind of got into... And I think that most fishermen, please email me and tell me if I'm sort of right on this. Dan@tomadan.com. I think part of it is sipping a cold beer, tying knots, and organizing your dumb lures. Moving things around, organizing them, making sure that your line is spooled on counterclockwise. So you don't get knots and tangled, little things like that I never knew. I never thought about that when I was a kid fishing.
I've heard
the setup is part of it, right? Sipping a beer and setting it up.
Yeah, it's like for a lot of people, hunting is that same way. It's about the trip. The hunting trip is about drinking with your friends in the woods.
Right.
And you could actually, kill an animal eventually, but sometimes you don't.
I was too drunk.
Yeah. But most of the fun is had just hanging with your buddies, drinking. Some people are seriously into it. Like, there's anglers out there that are all about but those.
Well, every Walmart I went to, apparently every Spanish person fishes, and I had to jockey to get some of those rooster tails. I had to elbow my way up there like I was at Vans Warped Tour. It was a Saturday morning. I'm in the LJ Walmart. It's me and every Spanish person in Georgia lining, I'm excuse me, I had to go get up there, and then there's 2 rooster tails left. I snag them, I run out of there like it was Black Friday shopping. It was crazy. Fishing up there in the LJ Walmart, they had 6 aisles in Walmart for fishing. 6. 6 aisles full of stuff. Tackle boxes, poles.
But I do appreciate how hard it is, and catching a fish is rare. So when you do it, it's super special. Yeah. I think,
and I'm okay with that.
Unless you really know what you're doing, I feel like the guys that river fish up there that catch when they always go up, they know exactly where to go. They know what bait to use.
What time on the banks, how to work work your line correctly.
The time of the year,
I'm into it. I like it.
What month, the morning compared to after, all this stuff, they dial it down where they know. And that's, if you just go out there with a pole in Walmart, if you catch something, it's going to be insanely rare. You know what I'm saying? You could, though.
I get and you get excited when you read things. You read a little blurb, and you're like, it'll say something like, well, stick to the, make sure you stick to the bank and work with the current. And they're like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. So you go and you try it, and you still don't catch anything, but you think you've gained a little knowledge, right?
Yeah.
You organize your stuff. Yeah, I'm into it.
Although nowadays it's easier than ever to get free information off YouTube, and there's Reddit forums
it's all fake,
and stuff.
Mr. Beast, though, it's all fake.
No, but
all those fishing videos, fake fish, people putting them on the hooks.
It'll tell.
I don't believe anything on YouTube now.
There'll be real anglers that will tell you where to go, what exactly what to use, and stuff that wasn't available. Think about it. 20 years ago, no one was catching nothing. Now at least you have the exact guide of a professional telling you exactly where to go. I mean, if you look on any river, there'll be some sort of information, go to this spot. Yeah. There's some secret spots that people don't give away, but for the most part, everything's out there. There's no hidden secrets anymore. All the honey holes are on the internet.
Yeah, but from what I saw, even if you found a honey hole, I mean, you still got to work.
Oh, no,
you'd be busting your ass out there.
Yeah, no one's just throwing bait in and catching fish after fish. That doesn't exist.
Let me tell you a quick, you mentioned, plumbing problems, I think, earlier. So we had just gotten there. We got in, we left on, last Sunday. To get there, we got in around maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
we get in. I get a 12-pack of Coors Lights. I get the fishing pole out, and because we cruised in late, we're not going to go tubing or get in the water yet or anything.
Yeah.
But we can still screw around a little bit. I go out there and I start fishing. I'm pounding beers. I'm listening to classic country music. I'm living the dream.
That's the good part about the first day on vacation is you get
Hard.
blacked out.
You go hard.
yeah.
Super hard.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about Ellijay, Georgia. They sell 12-packs, but they don't sell. And I still got a little accent, sorry. They don't sell 12-ounce beers. All Coors Lights, which that's what I like to drink when I'm listening to classic country music and fishing, is Coors Lights. I like C-minuses. They sell them in the 16-ounce pints in a 12-pack.
Okay.
So I hit a 12-pack of 16 ounces while I was fishing the first night I was there. I went sideways off the mountain. I went off the mountain.
They gotta sell regular
No,
12-packs.
Can't find them.
Not Walmart or
No,
whatever.
I've got a picture on Andrea's phone. They were out doing stuff.
All tall boys.
They're like, we'll get you beer, but we can't. That's good. That's a good family too. When you're fishing with the dog, and they're out getting fudge, and they'll message you and be like, you need beer? That's a good family. That's a good family.
Yeah.
And I wrote back, I said, yes, I need beer. And they're like, we can't find a regular 12-pack. And Maisie and Andrew are driving all around Georgia looking for just a regular 12-pack of just 12-ounce cans. No, it's all 16-ounce pints.
I like it when our kids are involved in our alcoholism.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that.
They're like, Dad isn't happy unless he has beer.
Yeah, I like that.
We gotta get Dad beer.
Yeah, I want my.
Oh, he's gonna get grumpy.
I
He's
want
gotta
a
get a
core
beer.
memory of my daughter. She's like, we used to go on vacation and we'd have to spend hours driving around for small beers for my dad because he'd get too drunk on the big ones.
Yeah.
But so I get the 16 ounces. I'm fishing. I go sideways off the mountain because I have a great night. I got Conway Twitty blasting. I'm fishing. I'm getting skunked, but who cares? I'm drinking. I got no shirt on. I got on a pair of Dukes and a hat.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream. So middle of the night, the biggest storm that area of Ellijay has ever, like, storm of the century blows in.
Okay.
And I'm talking thunder, lightning, but it would do these whoopie-doo gusts that like come off the mountain that you could hear trees falling down. You could hear trees every and then because like substations were exploding and lightning's cracking all over the place, you could hear the whoosh come off the mountain, almost like, you know when you got a window that's not sealed and you hear it go like
like
that. It sounds like that. All of a sudden, just like 35 tree limbs just come flying off the roof of our place into the river. Crash! We're like, get inside. We get inside. We're watching it from inside. Like, we're like, okay, we're fine. We're in here. We're like, we got to go to bed. And it's just gust after gust. We're sitting there. I'm sitting there playing. I brought the Xbox. I got College Football 25. This is just as good as fishing. I'm firing some passes with UCF. We get a flicker. I'm firing a few more passes with UCF, Malachi Fields. I'm throwing them. All the power goes out.
Okay.
I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. This is right around 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And also, you're probably thinking, well, this is an Airbnb. I don't know how long it takes them to repair, like, the power lines on the mountain.
I barely have cell service down here. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Like, some power line goes down in the mountain, and they're like, oh, we don't have the bucket trucks until, like, 3 days from now to fix. You know what I'm saying? And then you're at your Airbnb with you need AC.
Now, thankfully, because I was doing the big 16 ounces, I'm remarkably calm. And I'm calming everybody down. I give myself an award. I was like the good steward. I was like, everybody chill out. We're fine. We're inside this cabin. We had turned the AC down because we're about to go to bed. We're cool. It's not warm outside. Everything is great. We got food. We got water. Let's just ride it out. We'll go to bed. Yeah. No big deal. It'll be come on in the morning. No big deal.
I do like being too drunk to worry about an emergency.
Yeah. You do this a lot. It's one of your specialties.
Like during hurricanes or something happening. I'm like, well, I think
I was channeling you there.
I'm too drunk to even handle anything. I could barely walk. I definitely can't drive.
I could fall out the front door.
So So
I could fall out the front door.
I just have to go to sleep and pass out.
Yeah. And you have to calm everyone down. This is totally fine.
Yeah.
Why is everybody being crazy?
Like, I'm so drunk. then I could die right now. Don't even care.
Yeah. Like if I were to if a tree fell on me, I'm so relaxed, I'll live. I'll live.
Yeah.
I did think about that. I was like, I mean, that's got to be the dad in me, like kind of combining with my anxiety, because I did think a few times, because you could no BS, you could hear trees falling. Around us.
Yeah.
Big ones, dude. Like, and they were getting pulled out of the earth, and you could hear it. Like, you could hear the ground moving, and I was like, what if one of these just cuts our cabin in half? Right? Because that happens.
Yeah. It does happen.
And I'll tell you what happened. It did happen up the road. So Andrea's like, well, the power's out. I'm going to, and you could hear like a faint, like a substation or something way out there, like beeping or something.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to jump in the car, and I'm just going to go up the mountain and, the mountain road, and just kind of see if everybody else has power and see how far it goes. So she jumps in the car. She's riding up the mountain. And she's like texting us. And about 5 minutes later, we get a massive picture. And I'll bring it in so you can see it. But it's a ginormous mega tree, like I don't know how many, like 50, 100 years old tree.
Yeah.
That fell, and it cut all the power lines down, like bam, and like smashed them all down. When she got up there were already 3 guys and an old lady. They all had chainsaws. Everyone there carries a chainsaw.
No.
Like it's a pocket knife.
Yeah.
Everyone was already out there. They're like, hey.
Cutting it up.
Yeah, and Andrea's like, should I call the power company? They're like, yeah, we already did it. And we're like, we're about to cut this up, clear the road. And they're like going at it, man.
Yeah.
Those people work.
Did they get it back on?
They had the road cleared, and then so Andrea drove back down. No power still. We're thinking, I don't know when we're going to get this. So we decide to go to bed. So we go to bed, wake up the next morning, still no power. We have no power. And I'm like, I got IBS, and I drank 12 16 ounces, C minuses last night. The train's coming, and it just pulled into, Whistle Junction, and we got to let the passengers off. So Andrea's like, well, I mean, I guess just go in the upstairs, because there's 2 toilets in this cabin. She's like, go in the upstairs.
Well, why do you need power for the...
No water pump.
So they need
electric
pump the water.
pump.
Okay, yeah.
So we have no water, we have no power, and I got so much doo-doo in me.
But you still have the water in the tank. One flush.
Maisie used it to pee.
No. Oh, no, God.
Maisie used it to pee.
Did you scream? No!
I didn't think about it at the time. She's in there just doing her business.
Well, you can get the water from the river and fill the tank up, I guess.
But we decided that it would be
Poop
better.
in the river?
No.
Oh.
I said that. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me do that. They said it's still blowing. It's still crazy out there.
It's a good thing about a river is it'll bring the poop down.
Yeah, to other people.
You're like, not my problem anymore.
I kind of wanted to low-key poop in the river just to see, like, is this what cowboys did? Plus, the river is between 62 and 65 degrees, like, all the time.
Yeah.
So it's, like, really crisp.
Yeah.
So I was like, that'll feel great. I bet you more will come out. Anyway, Andrea's a genius. She used a giant, like a big soup pot, and was scooping water out of the hot tub to flush down my diarrhea.
The whole hot tub.
Hot tub water, yeah. You just use the hot tub water.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. We're MacGyvering it out there. But then finally the power comes on, and, they did something that I've never seen before in their storm fixing. I'm sure they do it around here too, but when the power company came, and they turned it on like super duper fast, they didn't clean up the lines that broke. They just ran new lines.
No, really?
And
it was like, leave them on the ground.
They did. Because there's nothing going through them.
Yeah.
So it's like because it got your power on a lot faster, right?
Yeah.
Than them having to clean up everything. I'm like, no, just run new lines and get their power on. I was like, oh, that's great.
Oh, that's cool.
And they'll clean it up later. But yeah, it was a little dicey for a second. One of the craziest storms I've been in for sure. But it was neat. It was actually cool getting to see that from like the mountain river perspective.
Yeah.
And I can see why people enjoy that. It is it's as scary as it is. It's fascinating to watch.
Well, that hurricane came through when we were out, so I was watching it because I was afraid that it was going to delay our Atlanta
this
flight
wasn't
back.
even that. This is just a crazy storm. But
that happened a week before the hurricane even came.
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking, so I too drink on vacation more than I've normally drank, because I've been cutting back.
Yeah.
But on vacation, I'm like, screw it.
You go a little harder
every day.
on vacation.
Every day I'm having some drinks.
A couple beers.
So, but my thing that I like to do on vacation is that there's a couple things. Well, first, and we're gonna have Crystal in so we could tell the story, but she got injured, and I finally injured her on some adventure that
One
I
of
planned.
your adventures.
And
These are
now
less-
she was
I
into
think
it too, though.
I do feel like you need to reframe your trips. These are no longer vacations.
No,
These
no,
are quests.
There's no.
Yeah, there's
I don't
no-
relax
yeah,
at
there's
all.
no relaxing here.
Like I'm happy to get back.
They're
so
family.
I
I feel like they're family tests.
yeah. Which, by the way, my my friends Andres and Lan that were on the show, I call them the Browns.
The Browns.
They
We love
came.
the Browns.
My buddy Alex and his wife and family came, and Fernando came, and so we had a bunch of friends out there. And I forget sometimes that and I realized this through memes and through reels. There's this whole reels about the joke that when you vacation with someone, that one person is the get up, hike every morning, spend all your time outside doing hard work, whatever.
Right.
And then there's the people that like to vacation.
Yeah.
And
Well,
actually
you can do
chill
a little
out.
bit of both. I mean, like.
Well, I chill out at the afternoon once
Right,
we're done
right.
doing a bunch of hard ass work. That's when I start drinking. But other people like to just vacation and chill out
I
on
see
their
both.
vacation.
Some mornings
of course,
I like to do the hard work of getting up at
It's-
6 a.m. and drinking 12
Yeah.
16-ounce beers. That's a lot of work.
it's everybody likes what they like to do.
Yeah.
But I'm like in the mindset of like when I go out there, I want every day. I want to do something, hiking
Is
or
it
something.
more of a motivation to do stuff, or is it more of a feeling that if you don't do stuff, you'll regret it? Because I feel it's more of the regret than.
Well, I just feel like I'm out here. We need to
Right.
go out and see. We need to like utilize and get the value.
Look at that
of
cloud. Look at that mountain.
Yeah,
Look at that
yeah,
grass.
yeah,
Look at
just
it. Look at it.
Go do something, and then I like
Move your feet.
Really, it's just with my sons. Like I don't know how motivated I'd be if it was just me by myself. Like I might go out for runs.
But you
I
say
don't know.
they're not motivated about it, so how do you power through that?
I force them.
Okay.
Or like I've indoctrinated at least my sons to when we go to Colorado or places, like we get up and we go do something every day.
Right.
And there's no just
think that's
like just hanging around. Let's see, like we go and we'll have a plan every day. Anyway,
I like that.
That got me into injuring Crystal, which is going to get me into a hole I can never financially recover from.
That would have been bad. That
Like
would've been
Tiger
bad.
King. Because now
I noticed you're growing a mullet.
She's
and you
already-
seem a little effeminate today.
she's got to go to the orthopedic now, and she may have torn her ACL, and
my
it's
God.
and this is gonna be a long-term thing. Again, we'll have her in. It was mountain biking
wow.
accident.
You guys love mountain biking.
Well, it's a funny.
That was a joke.
We'll talk about
That was my joke.
Never done it. I've never even mountain biked before ever, but we saw it on. I saw it on a video, and I was like, "Oh, we could do that. This looks awesome." Anyway, but back to drinking. So, the other days that we're doing like just regular hikes. And by the way, my number one piece of advice to everybody out there, and I've learned this. I've learned this over years of vacationing this way. Right.
Okay.
Anytime I spend $700 on something, I always have a better time doing the free stuff than the $700 thing.
Yeah.
Like and then
That's why I stayed at the house and tubed.
Yeah.
I tubed 100 times.
so when you go and pay for the excursion, you go do the expensive 4-wheeler,
You're paying to be let down,
4x4,
man.
yeah, like, whatever it is. Like it's never as good
No.
as just going to a hike and then eating epic lunch and then exploring or whatever. Like that's always better.
Yeah.
And
Having a
the
sandwich,
$700.
having a sandwich at a waterfall is easily better.
Yeah.
Than
the 4x4
Yeah.
tour, you go on the Jeep tour, the 4-wheeler
Yeah.
tour. You're just, it's like, oh, this is $800, and then you're just like, never as good.
Well, I have to. I
Don't spend the money.
I did that. I was going to go to the Atlanta Falcons training camp, which is something I very much enjoy. My family enjoyed it last time we went. Last time it was in Flowery Branch, and this time it was at Mercedes-Benz, which means we would have to have driven in from LJ to Atlanta. And we were having so much fun just with our feet in mud, with the dog going crazy in the mud.
Yeah.
Dansby loved it. He freaking loved the river. He enjoyed it, and that made Maisie love the river more. So those two just spending time in the river. I could stand on the bank. I could swim.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't even make it. We had our tickets and we just canceled it. We're like, nah, not going.
So the drinking thing. So we started doing this thing called Epic Lunch, and it goes by like this is a free thing that I would suggest that if you're on family vacations that you do that adds value to your lunch, right?
Love
so every morning I get up early. My family sleeps in, so I get up.
Very nice of you to do that. I sleep in and my family gets up.
Yeah. Everybody's got, I think, one person in their family. The kids that got it real bad are the parents that both want to wake up early. And we have so I wake up early. I make everybody's lunch. I put it in like a lunch backpack, and then we'll bring it. And then wherever we're at, we try to pick a lunch spot, like on a rock or on the side of a mountain or some place with a view, or and then just eat the lunch there instead of like anywhere at a restaurant. I want to eat the lunch on a trail somewhere overlooking a mountain.
I took Maisie to Hooters while we were there. Pretty fun.
And so then after, when we're leaving wherever we go hiking, I then have a roadie. Or a couple on the way back, right?
Yeah.
And then so I openly drink in the car. Crystal's driving, because she likes to drive, which I get some flack about. Whereas like other men,
you're not allowed to do that.
No, well,
I have a beer in my pocket every time.
No, not the beer. Oh,
every time Andrea's driving me somewhere, there's a beer in my hand.
I feel like
most of the time
when I pull up somewhere and my wife's driving, other men, I see it in their eyes. They're like, I'm less of a man because my wife's driving.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially my truck.
Andrea's dad straight up looks down on me.
Yeah.
We pull up in her SUV. She's driving. The kid's in the back, and I'm sitting there like a what? Like a little, Lord Fauntleroy.
So anyway, but now if she wanted me to drive, I'll drive. Then I won't drink, obviously. But but the only reason that she drives is she gets car sick and she prefers to drive. Like me driving makes her car sick,
and
she doesn't.
Car sick is real.
Whatever.
I don't think it's a real thing.
So she wants to drive because it makes her feel better. So I'm like, no problem. That allows me for my roadies, right?
Yeah.
So it makes
which
is better,
dude. You should elevate it. Sit in the back with the boys and drink your beers.
So
way cooler.
Well,
like you're being chauffeured around by your wife.
They are getting to an age where, like, even on vacation, they do see me drinking a lot, and then
I've given up.
I do think I'm like, you don't have to worry about this because Maisie she's going to be an Olympian.
I gave Maisie my ID, and she bought beer for me. I'm like, here, go in there and get a 12-pack.
She is by the book. She's never going to drink. My son's like Max is already. He gets shot glasses out of the.
And
then he pours root beer and he's drinking.
Oh yeah, that's your fault.
No, I know.
That's you.
And I'm like,
he's
stop.
like, look, adventure lunch or whatever. What's the epic lunch? Look at me, I'm daddy. I got a roadie. He's riding his bike around with a shot glass.
They already want to drink if they see me drink. I'm like, oh my god. Anyway,
but if they drink with you,
I don't know.
Right?
No,
That's my dream come true.
No.
Me and Maisie just playing video games and drinking tall boys all day. Oh my god.
I do not want them to drink alcohol.
No, I know.
But anyway,
because it gets serious.
So as I'm like, and I know this is technically against the law, but there is no good reason I could think of at all that I shouldn't be allowed to drink in the passenger seat of our car.
Is the reason because they think the person driving had a sip?
I think
it's drinking adjacent.
It's something like that. In most, some states, I don't even think have an open container law. Like I know Florida does. I'm pretty sure Colorado does too. So like technically, you get a ticket for it having an open container, even if the driver doesn't drink.
You absolutely can.
And so, but and it's one of those things where I think it's just a whatever.
Do they pour your beer out? Because that'd be embarrassing.
I'm never gonna stop doing it because I'm not hurting anybody, and this is awesome. I
would have a hard problem doing that. Like I think if they were like, sir, we're going to need you to get out of the car, especially if I've already had a couple. They're going to, sir, we're going to need you to get out of the car and pour that beer out. I'd be like, I don't want to. I'm not doing it.
I think once you stop.
How far can it go? How far can it go? Can I go like, I'm not doing it? And then they're like, sir? And then I'm like, okay. Or can I? Or they, sir? And I'm like, I'm not doing it. They're like, we'll tase you. I'm like, that's how far I wanted to take it.
Well, I was about to say it depends on what race you are.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. I think you'll be just fine. But other people may not want to take their chance.
I forgot,
especially in Georgia.
I forgot to mention I had a sombrero on.
Also the I forget that the higher you go, the better the weather is. So I'll explain. So once Crystal hurt her leg, like we had to cancel some of our plans for Sunday. Because
was it more
she couldn't
aggressive?
walk.
Like we went from mountain biking, and then it was like hang gliding.
Me and Crystal were
and then it was synchronized diving, cliff diving.
We were gonna go to Mount Sopris and hike it up to the top, but obviously she can't with her leg. Her knee is hurt.
Did you think about carrying her?
No, impossible.
Okay.
Like,
right.
Well, have you ever tried to carry a grown adult?
No, I never have.
It's I mean, unless they are like Shaq's wife or like some petite, like, you know, it is. I mean, you're not carrying them far.
Vin Schroyer.
Yeah,
I can't even carry Maisie, dude. She's like 80 pounds. It's a lot.
If you try to fireman's carry a grown adult, you're not getting far.
I was thinking more of like you and a team of your other adventurers that want to carry her up, you know, so she can see the sights.
No, not so we pivoted, and there's this place called Grand Mesa that's like an hour and a half from where we were staying, and I've never even heard of it, but it's like
Big Corn. Is that what that means?
It's apparently the world's largest flat top mountain. So it's basically a gigantic mountain that's flat on top, where it has a bunch of lakes or whatever up there, and it's a national park.
Cool.
And so when we went up there, and when we left the house, and like we're already in the mountains in Glenwood Springs or whatever,
it's pretty high.
It's 94 degrees. So I'm like, God, it's gonna be a hot ass day. And then we're all like, should we go? The kids are going to be miserable. It's going to be hot as hell.
Yeah, you have to factor that in.
Yeah, well, but what I didn't factor in is that because Grand Mesa is 10,000, 11,000 feet in elevation or whatever, it's 61 degrees up there.
Nice.
That's the difference. In, like,
party time.
We got up there, and I'm like, oh, my God. I'm dancing around. I'm like, holy crap. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, man, if we're in Florida, it's hot as balls, right? I'm like, but 10,000 feet up, cool. Yeah. It's cool up there.
We need a tower.
we
need a tower to climb.
If we were able to get 10,000 feet up, like I think it's in the 60s up there.
Is that your idea? We got to build mountains here.
I forget that. Elevation, it gets colder.
But it's also amazing.
How stupid I am.
It's also amazing to me that just 7 to 9 hours up the road into Georgia, it can stay like a consistent 75 degrees the entire day, and then the sun will still roast you good. It will.
Yeah.
Because it's still Georgia mountain laser sun, and it'll burn you good. But
it's cool in the mornings.
Cooler.
Like, that's where you escape. Like, I forget, like, even when I was looking at the weather in Colorado, I was like, it's highs in the 90s.
Even the shade in Georgia is better. You get in the shade, you're like, oh, this is fine. I can sit here and fish in the shade. It can be 90. It's fine.
The numbers trick you because you look at the numbers, you're like, same as Florida. High of 92 was just as hot. And then you get out there, you're like, oh, yeah, it is way better. These people got it way better. And they're bitching about how hot it is. I'm like, you don't even know people.
Yeah.
Like,
you have no clue.
Like, if it is a swamp heat that you've never experienced.
Yeah,
like,
we did some
local Colorado, the lady was like on the trail talking about how lately. I'm like, this is beautiful, like comparatively.
This restaurant that Maisie likes to go to that's inside the city of LJ, and you can go there. It's a really good little spot. It's called The Roof. And she goes and she gets boiled peanuts and peel and eat shrimp, and we sit on the roof of this place, and we look out over LJ. They did something that I don't know if it just wouldn't work here because we're too intensely hot and too humid, but they had personal misters for everybody, and they were really fancy. Like, it was like it looked very much like your mosquito net system, where it was like really tiny tubing, right?
Yeah.
And it's woven into the decorative like hipster lights that kind of hang down. And it would have like this little nozzle, and it would blow out like a perfect ice cold mist on you, like while you're sitting outside of the bar.
No, that's nice.
And I was like, dude, this is fantastic. But then I kind of got to thinking about it. I was like, I don't even know if this would make a dent in like Atlanta heat or Orlando heat. Like I don't know.
We don't need a mister. It's all, the world is a mist. It's so humid outside. I don't need more wet in my face here. It's like right when I walk out the door, my face is wet. So and then I'll tell you the whole story. There's a couple stories with Crystal that we're gonna bring her in tomorrow for Friday's ACD.
We had a black bear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it eating out your trash like a raccoon?
Yeah, we tried to find it. And it didn't eat out of our trash because Andrea put a big old rock. Well, it got us once. And the lady, we did a lot of firsts. They've never had bears get into their trash on that particular road, and we were the first. And they've never had a power outage on that road, and we were the first.
Really?
Yeah, like it was like a lot of firsts. But this bear, I have a picture of its paw was about, I don't know, it's a little bit bigger than a softball. It looked pretty big from its paw print, but it would go down into where we were at, open all the trash cans, pull out the bags. It's funny, it doesn't eat the bags down there. It takes the bags up. And it grabs all the bags, and it sits at the top of the mountain with a bunch of trash bags around it, just digging through the trash, eating the food.
Yeah.
Very smart.
All those bears are just scavengers.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny.
Garbage.
They didn't want to do it there. They grabbed everything. It's like cleaning up your stuff and then taking it up the mountain and then like, okay, this is a good spot. Let's have our picnic.
Yeah, but it's probably because they've been scared away there by people. Get out of the trash or whatever, so they take it somewhere
else. Like when you shoplift, you just walk out with it. We'll check it later.
I saw a brown bear. It's the first time I ever saw a brown bear, and it's funny because
that's eerie.
So we were it's not a grizzly bear, it's just a regular brown bear, which is similar to a black bear. It's just brown, I guess. It's like, but so
I'll write that down.
Because people see a brown bear like a grizzly bear.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh man, that's a man eater.
A grizzly is a different species, and that's insanely rare to see an actual grizzly bear. Now I don't know, but I'm virtually certain like there's brown bear, like black bear.
Which would you rather see? A brown bear, a black bear, or Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, in public, me too.
But it's funny because I was standing in line. We saw it at Snowmass Mountain during the mountain bike thing. Or it may have been during when we went up there for like a day trip because they have like the fishing and the roller coaster or whatever.
Yeah, it's awesome. Alpine coaster's dope.
So you ride the ski lift down, but before that there was a dad standing in line to pay, and then the son was like grabbed some bear mace because they sell it to tourists there because
smart.
They never need it. Like,
fear mongering.
But so the kid's like, should we need this? And then the dad was like, oh no, we don't see a bear. And then I was laughing at them. I'm like, yeah, it's insanely rare to see a bear. You won't need that. And then I joked. I was like, but this will be funny because it'll be the last thing you think about it if you do. Or we're making a joke. And then I was like, oh, there's one. Like literally an hour later, I was like, oh, there's one. And I was like, I hope the dad was riding up the damn chairlift and like that other guy said they'll never see a bear.
100%.
Because I've never seen one.
No,
out
but
there.
that's what happens when you say things like
Yeah.
this whole cabin we stayed in. The whole motif of it is all bears. Like everything in it is bears. There's bears everywhere. And Maisie's like, why is it all bears? She's like, I don't see any bears out here. I'm like, baby, there's no bears around here.
No.
There is. There were bears, and they were stealing the trash.
Yeah. But all they did, and that's the thing. People like have irrational fears about bears because they hear like the story.
I wanted to see. We'd get up every night, like when we had to pee in the middle of the night. I'd go around and look at all the windows
of course.
to see if I could see the bear.
Yeah. Like
we never saw him.
If you get the opportunity to see a bear, it's insanely rare and cool to see.
Cool. Yeah.
It's not gonna, every 1 in a million, some hunter wanders across some bear with cubs and it kills them good. Or like some.
Those are the ones we remember.
Some scientist is in some remote part of Alaska and it eats him and his wife, but they've been. I mean,
those are different bears.
Those
are the real bears.
Also, these people are in the remote area where it's bear country. It's like people are on some vacation and then they're like, "Oh, we better be careful of bear." Like, you're never gonna run into a bear. You'd be lucky if you did. It'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, we had a family of Canadian geese that would visit us every morning. 14 geese. They would fly and they would land on the rocks in front of us.
I saw the videos of that.
And we would tube down the mountain to the geese, and then they'd honk at us, and Dansby would bark at them, but they wouldn't go away, and they stayed there basically the whole trip until right before we left, and then they took off. They the one, we called him Pedro, I don't know why, but the one leader of the geese was like the bigger one. He would stand on a rock in the middle of the river, and he would stand on the same rock all day. Dude, this goose this Canadian goose stood on this rock for like 10 hours. It's the same rock. And then when he wanted to go, he looked at everybody and he was like, honk, and then everybody, boom, and then they took off. He was like the leader. He was the leader of the geese. Pedro, the leader of the geese. The Canadian geese are cool, dude.
Yeah, that's something I have no idea what.
They were.
It's funny because you get out of Florida, it's like geese and all these other things. You're like,
we found little scorpions.
I don't know what's up with that. Beetlejuice.
Maisie found some little scorpions, but I don't think they're scorpions. Kind of looks like a lobster, but it's like a river lobster.
Yeah.
We found all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it is. We couldn't. And a lot of times when you're out there, technology is awesome, and you have the Seek app where you can like hit it with a picture and it'll tell you what it is. But there was no service out there. I was not on my phone on this trip at all.
Yeah.
I was way off my phone. It was good.
Yeah, just taking a break from screens. Although I say that my son's on screens every night because with their friends because that's what they do.
That's how you talk.
Yeah, all the kids go down, and then I go downstairs, and then they're all just on their screens playing video. I'm like, look outside, even though it's nighttime. I'm like, are you gonna play Manhunt or something? No. I'm like,
No.
Anyway.
Digital Manhunt's pretty awesome.
So we'll be back to normal scheduled shows. Yep. We'll have, of course, everything that normally we do. We wanted to tell a little bit about our trip.
We're back. If you want to hear the real adventure stories or maybe the stuff that we are not alluding to here, you can find it at tomanddan.com and sign up to be a BDM because we always have new little things we talk about there.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Crystal in tomorrow, and we'll tell how she blew out her knee and some other stuff because we did some cliff jumping, and there was a guy there named Young, or my friends are calling Young TC. So anyway, we'll tell the story. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. It did look like a crawdad. I don't know what it was. We found all kinds of weird shit.
All right,
nice.
It's a Wednesday show, and then
feel too hard.
We'll come back at 1.
I gotta split that. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. We'll be back a little bit after, like Tom said,